Ohio State improves to 8-0 as it closes out its first college football playoff resume of the season with a 38-14 win over Penn State. Now, as we do every single week, we grade the quarterback. Julian Sayin had more touchdowns than he had incompletions today. 20 of 23 for 316 and 4 tugs, plus 2 runs for 13 yards. The one actual run and the other one I think was just like a QB sneak at the end of the game to seal off the game. Stefan, grade QB1.
Yeah, I'm giving him an A+, and when we did this after the Texas game, we all gave Julian Sayin a good grade, but we said, you know, if you put that next to the standard of Ohio State quarterback, what does it look like, right? And we were saying, okay, you know, it was a good performance against Texas, but, you know, if you compare it to the C.J. Strouds, to the Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins, like stuff that we've seen at Ohio State, maybe it wasn't quite enough to let you go into A+ territory. This was an A+ because this stacked up with performances we've seen and have been better than some performances we've seen from C.J. Stroud, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, whoever it was, Will Howard last year. Like, this is what quarterbacking at Ohio State under Ryan Day looks like. And we're approaching territory where it might be the best that we've seen, right? C.J. Stroud had an awesome run here, but what Julian Sayin is doing right now, he's completing over 80% of his passes. And if you watch the game, this is not a game manager who has good weapons and it's okay, quick slant, curl, blah, 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 everything within 10 yards. Like, he's completing, I think today his completion percentage was about 85 or something like that, with like more than 6 passes 20 plus yards down the field. Like, he was hitting 57-yard bombs that were 57 yards in the air, right? 45-yard bombs that were 45 yards in the air. You know, you think back to the Texas game that I mentioned, the touchdown to Carnell Tate was through the air, right? It's not like it was a bubble screen to Carnell that Carnell took the rest of the way, right? Like, Julian Sayin is playing at an elite level, period. He's not playing at an elite level because he's got good weapons. He's not playing at an elite level because he's got a good offensive line. He's not playing at an elite level because he's got a good coaching staff that's scheming up things, right? All those things are true, but he's also playing at an elite level. He's putting the ball in places where his receivers can make those plays down the field. He is, if not the best quarterback in the country, among the top 2 or 3 best quarterbacks in the country. Like, what he is doing right now compares to C.J. Stroud and all the guys that come through Ohio State. This is not good for what Ohio State needed in this game, like how we talked about after Texas. This is good, the end.
Is he the best quarterback in college football? I'm going to ask you to answer the question.
Yeah, probably.
There's no wrong answers here. Andrew, give him a grade, and then after you're done giving him your grade and your explanation for your grade, you have to also have to answer the question.
It'd be really funny if I was said like a B. It'd be really good if I was like, I don't know. I said when we were in Madison, Wisconsin, guys, that you could pretty much list Julian Sayin's incompletions offhand. Yeah, the incompletion on Ohio State's own sideline to Brandon Ennis, where he got like pressured and had to roll out, and Ennis
was also a drop.
It was kind of a bad throw. But he was pressured. He tried to throw it high, and Ennis couldn't bring it in. It was fine. I don't even remember the other 2.
One was a throwaway.
Okay, one was a throwaway.
I don't think any of them were deep. Like, they were all short incompletions, if I remember looking at that broadcast correctly.
Yeah, so A+. Like, you can't look at the way that he plays and think to yourself, I remember that incompletion, I remember that incompletion, I remember that incompletion, and have it be a bad thing, really. Like, unless like Jeremiah Smith's standing there doing jumping jacks looking for the ball and he sends it into the bleachers, like, all right, you might remember that one. He's just not doing that. He's accurate. Like, the ball is getting to Ohio State's receivers. The deep passes today, I mean, that's what broke this game open, right? Like, Ohio State won by 24 points, and you had a Carnell bomb. There's a bomb to JJ. I think there was another one to Carnell down this side. Like, that's what makes this particular Ohio State offense so deadly, where, you know, like, let's say last year, Will Howard, you know, you have that, the accuracy, like, there were some questions there, but, like, even against Iowa, like, what was he against Iowa, like 21 to 25? Like, there were games where he would have really, really high completion percentages, but we all kind of knew that he didn't really have that arm. He didn't really have that extra oomph, if you will, that Julian does. And that's why I think right now Julian's the best quarterback in college football. I think it's him and Mendoza. I think those are the 2 guys that are playing.
No. You have to say yes or no. Is this one person?
Yeah.
Number you can't bring in.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so right now. But I think that's his competition. So like, just the way that Julian throws the deep ball is a difference maker for this offense, because now defenses, you have to defend vertically. He's not gonna miss underneath. So you have, like, you can't get bailed out by him throwing high or throwing wide. He makes his layups, and all of a sudden now basically it's like Steph Curry can hit threes, but when Steph Curry is driving the lane on you and you can't stop him, then it's a problem. Okay, well, it's everywhere on the floor that you have to guard, and pretty much every ounce of grass, every blade of grass, from the line of scrimmage inside of 55, 60 yards, you have to defend against this set of receivers. Impossible. That's why he gets an A+ again today. That's why he's the best quarterback in college football, I think, right now.
Yeah, I think he gets a 100%. Plus a little bit of extra credit. He did the extra credit when he didn't even need to do extra credit. And the extra credit is the thing Stefan's going to be writing about. And I think it was the most important play of the game, because you're saying they didn't play this way just because they needed it. At the time, they did need it because it was a little shaky, right? Because you had C.J. Donaldson, he had fumbled. Penn State, I think, had the longest drive of any team that has had a drive against Ohio State's defense, that 15-play drive. That hasn't happened until now. So I'm not saying Ohio State was ever in the balance of losing in this game, but the offensive line, the interior wasn't always great. And listen, part of a Heisman Trophy campaign is like when you're able to do, so what? Yeah, this isn't great. All right, anyway. And I thought that 9-yard scramble where he makes guys miss, he plants his foot and heads up the field, and I asked him about it. And that's a key moment in the game, especially because I think they ended up with a touchdown.
They did. They scored a touchdown on that.
So it's like that type of stuff when you're talking about need. Yeah, it's not need in terms of like, hey, only do this. It's like, hey, can you do anything necessary to make sure that we keep this offense on schedule? That's what I mean by the extra credit part of this. And to answer my own question, yes, he's the best quarterback in college football, because I don't think there's another quarterback who can do what he is doing right now. I think Marcel Reed and Fernando Mendoza are in the conversation as well, just like you two probably do. I don't think Marcel Reed's style of play translates to national championship anymore. I think it did in the early 2010s, but ever since Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Mac Jones, Will Howard eventually had to pull it together. You got to be able to be a downfield passing threat, and that's not consistent enough for me to believe in that ability to win a national championship. It doesn't mean he's not a good quarterback. I just don't believe in it, and Julian's just more talented than Fernando Mendoza. So it just comes down to that situation. I think the thing that makes this team so freaking dangerous, I think Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson are in trouble. I think that trio in 2019 was ridiculous, and their stats are going to be better than this trio's because different time period of college football, right? Different clock rules. Their defense, that LSU defense is not as good as this Ohio State defense. So I don't know if Julian Sayin's going to throw for 60 tugs and that he's going to have 2 receivers with 1,600 yards and one of them has 20 touchdowns. But man, Julian, Jeremiah, and Carnell are putting up some heck of a case to look those 3 in the eye. Now they got to finish it off with a national championship, obviously, but I don't know, man. You guys are talking about, like, Julian makes throws where only the receivers can get it, but also he has the type of receivers who are the only ones who can even get it in the first place. So it's a cheat code on both sides, on both the throwing and the receiving end, and I'm not sure what any team is supposed to do about that unless all of a sudden you see a bunch of all-pro cornerbacks. And I don't think any team has multiple all-pro cornerbacks. And we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago about what's the best wide receiver tandem of the day era. I think if we expanded that and just gone, what's the best quarterback and wide receiver tandem combined of the day era, I don't think it's close anymore. I think CJ and Marvin and Mecca are in the conversation. I think Justin and Garrett and Chris are in the conversation, but I don't think it's close, man. When you combine the arm talent with 2 6'4" guys who won 4 4s and can catch everything that's thrown at them. He doesn't miss, and they don't drop passes unless it's the first game of the season. Then JJ's going to drop a couple. Then he's not going to drop any more for the rest of the season. Those are our grades, though. A bunch of A's. Pluses. We're going to continue this conversation on Buckeye Talk, wherever you find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315. 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. Ohio State 38, Penn State 14 to close out this first offering as a college football playoff resume. Those rankings come out on Tuesday, and we'll be reacting to those wherever you find podcasts. Steven, Stefan, Andrew. We're a pretty good trio, too. So, yeah.